Looks like we're live. Here we
Mhm.
go. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, wait.
Try, trying to get
Wait,
all my tech together.
wait. I got noises everywhere. Hold on.
Yeah, me too, because I didn't mute my computer
Okay,
audio,
now I'm doing it. Okay.
but it shouldn't be coming through there.
Okay.
That was the playback.
Mm-hmm.
All
Okay.
right, what's up, peoples?
Hey, everybody.
It's hot. Hot out here.
It's hot.
Hot in these streets.
It is hot.
All right, what's up, peoples?
Oh, is
It's
that me or
hot.
you?
Hot out here.
Oh, that's not me.
All right.
Okay.
So,
Whew.
we
So
in
much
here.
to talk about.
This a hard one. This is a hard one because it's hot. We want to go outside. We want to go to the pool, the beach. We want to do all this stuff, man. Stay at home orders have been lifted in places, but we still in a pandemic. And the coronavirus is still out here. And the coronavirus is running around. And we got politicians acting like they don't want to know that the virus is out here. Like, "Nah." It's almost as if it's just like people have to die and we're just speeding up the process or something. I'm gonna be doing this a lot because it's pretty hot. I had all the windows open to air it and I let the AC out. It's bad.
That's
Rubber's
his
dump.
ancestors are coming out of his body before the 4th of July, and they're just sweating out, and spilling out his body.
Whatever. Um so
No,
politics
but
when it
wait,
comes to
before
the
you go into
corona.
what you say, I want to say this. I just got off the phone, um, and had to speak about this virus, and there are still many people who are very misinformed. Is I guess what I'll say. Misinformed. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of fear tactics, but there's also just a lot of missing information, especially for people who get overwhelmed. Look, because the reality of it is none of this stuff is fun to watch. So what I'm noticing is that some people get I get overwhelmed watching it, but I try to stay informed. And I just kind of had to tell one of my bros, like, yo, no, none of what you're saying is true. Like, we don't know enough about this pandemic. I feel like we don't know enough about COVID to the point where we can just be like, you're completely in the clear if you don't have any pre-existing, situations. You're in the clear if you're this age. You're in the clear. I feel like we get different information every day, and that pretty much everyone is open to possibly getting this.
This shit.
So,
This shit. We got a lot of people talking about I can't breathe with the mask on. I can't do this with the mask on. You only wearing it to go around other people in groups. So
so,
you
so with
not
you saying that, that's pretty much what I had to explain was this is more or less not about your individual self than it is the people around you. Here is where we forget the connection of the web. Okay, I like to call it the human web. Okay, I hang out with my mom. Me and mom. We only see 3 or 4 people. What you now have to consider is those 3 or 4 people that you hang with and see, have those 4 people been out? If those 4 people have been out, and about with other people, even if it's just one more person, has that person now been out with other people? See, we're not actually thinking about the trickle down effects. It's like, well, I only come over here once a week. Yes. And that once a week, that 1 minute, that 1 second, that one moment, you may have just taken something, take it back home, then come back and be like, well, I ain't really hang with nobody. But did you hang with someone? See, the reality of it is we don't know who has it. We do not know if people are walking around and can just pass it on to everybody else and they don't have no symptoms. Like we walking around with fever guns and you ain't got to have no fever to give it to somebody. That's what's crazy. So if you have to wear a mask to enjoy your life and you have to stand a little further apart and you have to like not be all up on people, then do that. Like if it means that you're gonna live and that your grandma gonna live and your auntie gonna live and your mother gonna live and your brother gonna live and your sister gonna live. That's
Well,
you and your nephew and your cousins. That's all I'm saying is limit the interactions in the way we are interacting instead of it being like
what's up, Brett?
we just out here
Right.
for no
And,
reason. I don't care where it came from. I don't care if a lab made it. I don't care if a rat made it. I don't care if it came from a bubble on Mars. I don't care what it came from. It is
right. Well,
here. It has taken people out.
that was part of the politics. That was part of the media. That was part of the propaganda that was put out. We got information that says it comes from here, comes from there. It was made here, and I look at that like, okay, if we're going to take the latter of those situations, and the most dangerous being to me a human created bio weapon, come on. That to me is, if you think that is part of the conspiracy, then you have a lot more to worry about, because that
Yeah.
means that it's more dangerous. That means that it's being developed and somebody can change it and be like, oh, it didn't work well enough. Let me do this. I'd rather it be naturally from like an occurring, s- you know, trickle down of something that is more traceable and like something that we can say, okay, this was a nature skip. So we got to look at it at those aspects too. People are outside, you know what I mean? People are
Why are we behaving
congregating.
like pandemics are new?
Right. They've been happening since human existed. I've got to step away for a second. Get my
All
food.
right. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna just keep talking. So what I guess I'm trying to figure out is like people must have forgot about things like the measles. Like there are so many different viruses and diseases and things that have taken out mankind in sections for so long. I don't know why we keep behaving like it's new, like this is some made up like it's not new. We just don't know what this one is. But the reality of it is it's not new. We did have something in place. We did have a plan and our current I don't know what to call that guy. The current person that sits in the White House dismantled the plans that we had for things such as a pandemic. So we did have a plan. It was it was taken away. So it's not that I just don't understand why we keep behaving like this is it's not new. There are plenty of diseases that have taken out mankind previous times and many times in different ways at different times of the world. Like it's not new.
Not
Like
new at all.
AIDS is
This
a
is
pandemic. Like AIDS
this
was
is
a
the
pandemic. Crack was a pandemic. Like
an
let's go
epidemic
further.
of as-
Measles. Now that's both. It's both. It
and
had
this is
other things attached to it.
the other issue. That is the demise of humans, which is on one hand why we're so afraid of it on one hand, and then on the other we don't want to address it as being something to be afraid of, because hysteria is real. And
Stress is real and
people will
historic for
people
sure.
will go into their own mental thing, and that's where we're getting into this health versus politics and like
Cause
understanding
that
what.
boy, it will break your body down. Like it will break. If we are not well mentally, our bodies can be broken down very fast, and we will be more susceptible to things like COVID. Like it's just a fact.
Right.
Fact.
And so, like, I'm just looking at some numbers and I'm just looking at, like, okay, you got a lot of places. And I wanted to share this video. It's like 4 minutes long, but it shows, like, the, um, the amount of time people were under, for example, the District of Columbia started our stay at home order around March 27th, right?
Mm,
It ended May 28th. So that was close to 2 months, right?
mm-hmm,
Whereas our numbers at the spike in April on the 30th were over 10,000 have dropped below the 50 mark, right?
mm-hmm.
And there's a small little uptick as of today. But then you go to states like Florida, okay? So I'm looking at this and maybe I should share
Florida, who
this.
never
Right?
went into quarantine. Florida, that
Florida
Florida,
stay at home order started.
never
They claim it started March 19th
lies.
and ended April
What?
30th.
Oh, it started April 30th. Yes, that's the right date.
They
No,
didn't
for real.
abide,
I think
but
it's
we're
about
talking
that
about
time.
a state that didn't abide by the order
No, they didn't have it.
anyway. They didn't have numbers above a certain mark until June.
That's crazy. There's a lot of
Then
old people
June
here.
hit. Why? Because their numbers were low in the beginning. So they felt, oh, we're not susceptible. Bam. Now your numbers is over 10,000
Give
just
me a
in
second.
the
So
last 7 days. Just in 7 days. Okay. And other places are even worse. Like some places have up and down spikes, some places are steady going down. Okay.
Texas, Texas
Every
jump. Like
mhm,
people were
Texas.
shocked about it. People were shocked about the jumps that happened, but I wasn't because those are the places that took the longest amount of time to go into quarantine
So basically, what I looked at in these stats is that if you had a stay at home order for at
in
least
March.
2 months,
Mm,
your numbers are down, except for places like New York and California, which are having fluctuating numbers just because they're too congested. Okay. Your numbers are down for the most part, plateauing. Even places like where we live is like that. So,
mm.
um, but
Now, what are you looking
if
at?
you
Because
had a stay at
I've
home
seen
order,
something very
l-
different. What are you looking at? What are we
if you
referencing?
had a stay at home order less than 60 days, so most of the ones we're talking about are at stay at home orders that were in place for 30 days and people marched on the Capitol with AR-15s and no mask and stuff like that. Only for a stay at home order that was in place for 30 days. And like mommy, Rhonda is saying right now, mommy, how you doing?
Right.
It is Republican states, and that's what we're talking about the politics
Yeah.
of it. Like,
Yeah.
um, it is the
So,
states
so
that
I guess
were
I do have a question
opposing
about.
everything.
I have a question about that. The other times there have been pandemics, like I'm talking way early in history. Were were politics an issue when it came to trying to get people to not spread diseases and things like that? Like, were politics? When did politics start is creeping into health scares? Like,
It's
when
always
did
been
that start
it's
jumping in?
always
Like,
been a thing. It's always been a thing because it's always like that factor that a leader has to step up and do his part to help save the people in ways that. And I don't know all the history about all the pandemics, but a lot was put in place to really help people to um get together. Now, some of them were
Yeah.
way worse
Oh
in the
yeah.
past. And that's what we got to look at. This is what the issue is with the politics right now. Because people that are part of the working class, the working middle class, white middle class, um, they are in
Hmm?
these ideologies of politics that make them follow what's going on with that ideology of politics that is kind of spurring the different mentalities on how serious to take it, because when you look at the cases to death ratio, it's not something like the Spanish flu when it was like 50%, like people were just like,
But that's because we have
you know.
medical. Services.
Yeah, our medicine, our medical care is way better. So it's definitely a reason. So this is why politics now is and it's an election year. It's all of these things coming
Why
together where
people
it's the
get
opposition, it's the party that is so high strung on capitalism that is not being concerned as much with the health as much as the other side. And that just goes into a whole nother issue, just having
well,
two
wait.
sides.
So Brittany said she wants to know why is it the people get blamed more than the venues and organizations allowing mass groups to gather and not putting structures in place to maintain social distancing. Here's the real issue. Because we have a lack of leadership, we cannot rely on organizations and venues because they also align with politics. At this point, it is up to you individually. At this point, you have the information. We are getting the information. We're giving the information. You know, it's everywhere. You're choosing, either we choose to watch it or no, right? Either we choose to believe it or we don't. At this point, it is up to us individually to take care of those around us and ourselves and make a decision that makes sense. The venues and the organizations are gonna have they don't know what to do because the government controls their money. You know, so it's like, what are they supposed to do? If the president would just say, we have to wear masks, we are not open, we're going back to quarantine, we're doing this, this, and this, we're gonna do it for 2 weeks, we're gonna sit in the house and do this, then the businesses would have nothing to say. No one would have anything to say. We would be like, all right, we just gonna go. Right now, we are fighting against the government saying it's cool to go outside and go to a rally and go to a 4th of July and Mount Rushmore and die with 7,000 people or 70,000 people. Like, it's crazy. So what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to be like, ooh, my government funding that pays for a part of my building and my this, and this, and the sponsors that I got, they are Republicans, but they going this way or they feeling this way. Like, I don't know how people are supposed to make decisions at this point, but the organizations are being reckless. They do have the opportunity to just put things in place, but then they got to deal with people in their organization who may be believing the other side of it. So you fighting all day. It is up to us individually. If you own a business, it's up to you to make that choice. You may go broke, you may lose your business, but you either have to make that choice or you lose lives. Like, it's really just, I mean, that's the only two choices.
And then
You go
it comes down to economics as well. Like when you think about economics, when you talk about the war for any venue, like it costs money to implement. Even spray paint cans cost money. Even freaking like signs cost money to make or whatever. That they already losing because we are in a pandemic or we were in stay-at-home orders, etc. So that's why then we have these states that did fake stay at home orders.
mm.
People continued to congregate. Businesses were like, we're following because the people, like I said, have this ideology behind their politics. We're going to follow our stupid politicians' advice and say, no, you're good. Just do this and try to social to try this try thing. Try to wear a mask.
Hey,
Try
y'all,
to social
it's
distance.
really not that hard. Can I just say something? I want to be petty for like 5 seconds. I just want to be petty for 5 seconds. Most of y'all, and I'm talking about everybody, just all the whole world. Most of y'all was complaining all year about having to go places, having to get up and go to something, having to go to so and so's baby shower and the wedding and the funeral and the something else and the some anywhere. Most humans don't even like humans most times. Now all of a sudden y'all want to be up on each other. Stop it. Like we can get back out there to each other like at some point, but like why are y'all so pressed? Why are we so pressed to get in a pool and just swim around in COVID? I don't know. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want y'all to do it. I wish y'all would just stop. I wish y'all would stop acting like y'all like humans and like y'all really want to hang out with people, but you don't. Like talk to them on Zoom. They look the same. And like go about your business.
No,
Like,
but there is a thing that it is a psychological, physiological thing, the social interaction. Like that whole it's part of human nature. So I understand that. But
you're not
for
gonna die
me, one of the main things about human nature that stands out is survival. Like
and selfishness.
being able to survive self, being able to survive community, and help other people to survive in different things. Like we said, we don't know. We don't know what the
We
man.
don't
We don't
know.
know what the fuck is going on with this shit, dog. We don't know. So when we talk about politics in the media
Mm.
and how they can shift perspective on different things, like how places that had protests are not seeing the same spikes yet as these places that were just open, yet we are getting media coverage that is associating the spikes in those places with the
The
protest and
protest.
talking about the protest. So that
And
whole politics
CNN,
behind it.
CNN has had multiple doctors on that were very clear that those really high spikes that came in right around that time, those were from the soft openings.
Hmm.
That was from phase one. That was the phase one of the openings, and then also they tracked Memorial Weekend because they said more people at the protest wore masks and more people who went to private events, pool parties, cookouts, stuff like that got comfortable because they were with their loved ones or people they know, stuff like that. And there was way more interaction than at a protest.
Hmm.
Way more interaction because you relax. You ain't got your mask on. You may have your mask on. You might not. You might not wash your hands as much. Like there's so much that happens when you are naturally around people you're used to being around. And then you're excited to be around humans again. So you forget. Trust and believe that. Trust and believe those who went
Well,
out at that time
there's
did
the
not
other
protect
thing.
themselves. We 30 years old.
That's hilarious. I just read that
I
shit.
mean, and you know what? I've heard that reference a few times about the condoms. Like, I mean, it's true, but again, this is up to you individually to be responsible. Either you make a choice or you don't, and you live with the consequences. Like, like that's all I'm
Right.
saying. I don't want to hear nobody hooping and hollering when y'all kill your mother accident. I don't want to hear it. Keep it to yourself because there are people that I know personally that have lost loved ones from it. This they did not were not prepared for them to be ill or anything, and it's not cool. Like there are people who are losing their lives. Like
Well,
it is
that's
what
what I
it is.
wanted to talk about when you're talking about being around people and things like that. And this is part of the politics and the propaganda that's spread about the different things. Like when you think about contact tracing, right? When we know that contact tracing is supposed to be okay, if this person got something, we want to be able to get in contact with all the people they were around. That's kind of how our interactions are supposed we have to do it ourselves. We don't have the capabilities like other countries and things like that that have technology and things like China,
Right,
to do contact tracing on their own. That's an invasion of our privacy if we were to have anything like that. We wouldn't be able
right.
to do that in America. Um, so we have to be
I've been saving
responsible.
lives.
Right, we have to be responsible. Um, when like you said, when we're around certain people, to make sure, okay, I'm only in contact with this person, these people at this time, and then quarantine after that. Like I know you and I always talk about when we see each other, when we go or have to do something, or like it's like, okay, now I have to count from this days. It's almost like I got a calendar. Okay, this day I did this contact. I have to see 2 to this many days to make sure if I get a symptom, like I was around this many people. Like it's that serious because we don't have the
It is.
technology to do it,
It is.
right?
You be like, what you do today? Who you see?
So I find myself as an extroverted social person that's always out, that loves to be around people, just to be. I used to just walk down the street in lively areas just to be around the people, to bump into
Mm,
people. You
mm,
know,
yes.
I'm in the house
Right.
because it's about survival. It's about making sure that I can
Y'all, if y'all
take
see
care of
Matthew in the
myself.
house, bruh, if y'all see Matthew in the house, y'all should be in the house. There is nothing about this man that enjoys being in the house. He loves the house right now. It is his safety. Okay. Let me tell y'all, if you see him in the house, go in the house. If you see him walking outside with a hazmat suit on, go get you one. If you see him running, run with him. Just do it. Don't ask no questions. Okay. Y'all see he in the house. He is not playing games out here. Okay. We keep interactions with people very small. We do not play games. But we're not like fearing things. Like I'm not gonna freak out if somebody touches. It's not on that level. But I just want
And
to be responsible.
well, let's talk
And
about that.
there are things that I don't have to do.
Let's talk about the fear tactics with the politics, like how this has been spun around so many times
Pause before you
that
get into that, 'cause that's gonna be a whole conversation. I want to address mom. So mom said young folks are now protesting college fees since online is a priority. Their main complaint was that the purpose of college is social interaction, living on their own, etc. What do you think? I absolutely agree that that should be half of their cost should be right out the damn window
yeah,
because
all
you are
like
paid to be at college
70% of the cost, the professors don't even gotta come to the school to do the class.
at all. They
Nobody
just
got
online with the curriculum.
right.
Cause
And I'm having like this is a whole nother issue. Like these kids had a whole nother experience going on. They at home with their parents. They ain't want to be
hey,
at
bro,
home.
they didn't have
Like
prom.
we
They
gotta think about things like
didn't
this.
have graduation,
This
bro.
is one of those things where we're not
It's terrible.
considering the mental health that something like this has caused to millions of young people, okay? Millions of young people who were in college, who were in
Mm.
trade schools, who were in different situations where they had to go home, where they have to be home, where they have to do this from home. Some of these people
Some of
don't
these people
have
need to go to college because
home.
they ain't have a home.
Some of these people not going to be able to do college like they were going to be able to do it at home.
Not
It's
at
not, they
all.
just trying to get away. You know how many people live someplace they go away? They
Away.
like away to get away from that something that they're in. And
Yep.
sometimes it's better for them to do that. Now they at home. Like that's a mental brain fuck for these young people who have to deal with this. And then you asking for their whole money? Get the fuck out of here. Yay! They gonna drop out. They not gonna do it. They gonna be like, why? Why? Why should I even be in
For
class?
what? For
Like
what?
for what? I'm in the house
Hey,
all the
parents
time.
about to be blown, yo. Parents about to be blown. I just think it's funny because I've been trying to tell people for years that stuff was not going to stay this like super traditional route. Like I knew something was going to go there. I just didn't know what was going
This is
to happen.
another thing that Alicia is talking about when we talk about the lack of leadership on certain issues. She talks about an article about black mental health and is severe right now. especially with people in abusive homes. And we keep talking about this is like a recurrent thing that we're splashing on, but it's really something that I think we're going to need to have a show about
Shawnee's gonna have to come on for that one because she can speak
because this is
firsthand
going to
about that.
be real serious. Like it's not just black people though; it's everyone that's in a situation. This is another reason why people want to get out and be away. You know, or just like I call it
Okay, so I'll say this.
abusive environments. How about
This is
that?
the first time that I have watched endlessly on purpose though, like the news, like for real, like on my TV watching the news. But I do watch CNN. I like watching CNN because I like that they have a lot of different anchors. There's a lot of different shows on there. There's a lot of shows on there. Actually, I'm gonna be honest. I think I used to think CNN was just one long like running situation. Like I don't know if I ever really knew there were separate shows because it would just be like CNN and CNN. But there are some. I really commend both sides of anchors right now. I think it's a very interesting job to be in right now on either side of the politics. But I appreciate the openness of CNN. I appreciate they have allowed their anchors to speak personally, but also daily, like giving us real updates, like the COVID updates on there. They bring in experts daily. Like daily, they got a new expert on there, a new scientist, a new doctor, a new researcher. And across the board, everyone's pissed and terrified. Like across the board, everyone is upset because we know this could be shut down with one word from the person that resides in the White House. And that's it. That is it. It doesn't matter what side of that you're on. If the president put that in place, everyone's gonna have to do it, or you already know what the consequences are for that.
Mhm.
But
And that's what Lily's
it's
talking
really
about.
hard to watch the news anchors be more responsible than our leader, and that makes me nervous.
That's what Lily's talking about right now. Lily's talking about the energy, the anxious energy
It's
outside,
terrible, bro. It's
and
terrible.
the people not taking safety precautions. And this is why it's kind of like, okay, people are like, we know that it's almost as though people know that there's something else that's going to happen, and it's going to come down to the wire, and it's going to be shut down. We're going to be back to it, and it's like the last hurrah, like we got to get out while we can. And then
Mhm.
others really don't believe that if there's an issue that they really need to be concerned with. And
Well, people
I
came out of the quarantines kind of selfish too, because what Lily's talking about as well is the driving. Like I noticed that today when we were out, I was like, people are driving like they don't even care if they hit somebody. Like they don't care if they run somebody over because they're so pressed to get to where they're going that we have somehow come out of this even more selfish than we were going in.
well, that comes from a mental thing that is not being addressed by the leadership as well. Is like when people have been under restriction, right? You've been having people that they
Mm-hmm.
can go out only during certain times of the day to
Yep.
go get essentials. They can only
Yep.
do things. Things are still closed early. Things are
Yep.
still not operating at full 100% capacity. So you have to get there
Right.
so that you can wait in line or wait outside or wait for your shit for an hour and a half, 3 hours,
Yep.
14 hours. I don't care. I don't know. I order everything online now.
No.
Um,
Yeah. I don't know what you're
but
talking about. Wait for anything.
that's what they're doing. They're pressed to get somewhere that you have to wait 2 hours to get what you went there to get, because don't let it be an hour before they gotta close because they're closing early. Like all that anxious energy, like it's causing just a lot. And the people are still not back to their regular lives. Things aren't going on. Nobody's doing anything that they're supposed to be doing.
But I guess my
We're doing
concern,
it.
but my concern is to me right now in this moment, in the middle of a pandemic and an epidemic and an election. This is probably the most dangerous, I feel like, I have seen our government, like in the most dangerous position. The president, the government, like I don't like the position I feel like we're in. Like I don't like that we have this lackluster leadership that incites negativity and hate and things like that and divisiveness,
Let's
but
be
we not
honest.
even dying.
We
Like I
got to
don't
be honest.
understand how we're
They
not
don't.
like, yo, like people are getting sick, they're dying, they're on ventilators, things like that. Ventilators are not good for you to be on either. Like it's just
We got to look at our leadership. The leadership is
I don't want to
looking.
talk about politics
There
and health.
are our politicians. The reason why they don't care about the health of the majority is because their group is the minority. See, their administration won with the smallest minority of people
Mm.
voting for them, because there was votes going in different directions. There were non-votes. Then the way that it's set up, it was set up so that it was broken down, these things. It wasn't won fairly in the way that things should be won, actually. And they're still a minority. So the whole thing is, if you come to power as part of a minority group, okay, you
Yeah.
have uh you have more of a inkling to just do things towards your specific demographic, because that's the only people who really care about you, who you need to care about anyway, and that's what's going on. So up until now, that demographic has not been affected as much by the COVID in all
Okay.
the places that matter to them. So as that is starting to happen in those places, then you need to see what happens with the people who care about that demographic of people, which is our administration. Everyone else is not in there. They don't care. They're not trying to do anything else for them. They're not trying to do anything else for us. They don't care about rent. They don't care about if you the majority of people that have bad health care are in certain places, They don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they'll live. They get through it all the time. Whatever. Blah 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 blah.
When the head is out of order, everything is out of order. Protect your own common sense. Can't buy it. Now that is for sure. I think I didn't know for a very long time when I was younger that common sense was not something everyone had.
Common was not common.
Yeah, facts.
Not
Like I
commonplace. It's kind
really
of like,
thought like that's just like a regular part of people. Like, no, it's not. It's not
mm-mm.
actually. But there's just I just don't like I guess I just don't like the feeling of feeling like I don't like that there are actually human beings that are sitting around thinking that they are betraying their belief systems based on whether or not they protect themselves from a virus. Do you see what I'm saying? I actually am not okay that there are some humans who just can't separate those things and that they are actually you speaking like they really feel like they're betraying themselves and their families and their belief systems
just to
and their
cover their
God
face. Well, that's
just
what
to
we talk
cover their
about:
face like
politics and health. Now you're getting to the nitty gritty. As we really deep dive into this, like you're talking about the ideology again, because they follow leaders and their leaders so wholeheartedly in their party, so wholeheartedly, it's religious to them. It's religious. That's how powerful it is. So this causes you to not make decisions on your best interest, but um it's almost as if, how are you going to look when those people don't even see you? See, they think they're being seen and heard, but the people that they're trying to be seen and heard by don't even see them.
like you know what I realized today, even though there are people of all colors, ages, genders, whatever, religious beliefs, it doesn't matter. There are people wearing masks. Did you know today I realized that we are still seen as intimidating, a little more intimidating with the mask on? Today I realized that. I saw it a couple of times. And I was just like, oh man, we still have to deal with like being black with a mask on
Mm.
with people who fear that as well. I saw it a couple of times in the last 2 weeks, and I was just like, this is like none of this
This
should
is
be.
Watchmen,
This is yeah, for real.
but it's a race version
But
without a
it's
mask.
Watchmen is about to go into Hunger Games. Okay,
Well, Alicia talks about the people being selfish because they can be, and it's part of the freedom we
yep.
have here,
I talk about
and
that all
that's
the time.
biting us in the ass.
Facts.
It's biting us in the ass, and I
Sometimes I'll
agree.
be like, now I understand why other places get all these restrictions.
Like the thing about it is, some places we
I
think
don't
that
want to have
have a
restrictions, but
lot of restrictions, they don't really have a lot of restrictions. They just like we covering these bases. We don't want no crime. So when you do that, you about to get smashed. You know what I'm
I think
saying?
you just uphold your word for everybody. That's all I'm saying. Like, tell them to wear a mask. If they don't wear a mask, they get a fine. Tell them, like, let's just keep the same system for every human. I mean, it seems simple. I mean,
But we have that's the thing about politics. We have different politics in different countries in different places.
mm.
So it's making a difference. Like you got politics in China, everybody under the same technology, cameras everywhere, everything going on. They know contact tracing. That's in most of those
When you
Asian
find out
countries.
this many humans died, should your body language ever be this? I mean, we don't have to wear the mask. Like, should your body language ever be that if there are so many people from the country that you run? I got a problem with the nonchalantness. It's like you don't have to wear a mask.
Because
I
we're
don't.
the winner. We're the winners
Like,
right now. We're winning.
please stop saying that.
We have the most.
I
We're
hate
the
no.
best. We're the best at catching this virus. And we
Ain't
are
trying
the
to.
buck like
He's a
that's how our
gluttonous.
politician is.
He loves gluttony. Like he is a gluttonous. Like he's the picture of the little fat kid sitting at the table with donuts piled up and cakes and pies and bacon and chicken, and it's just all in one thing. And it's like a picture of gluttons, like glutton. Like I swear to God, when
It's
he
because
starts
we're
talking
number one. We're
when he
number
starts
one at this
talking about
shit.
greatness, when he starts talking about winning, like we've tested more people than anywhere in the world. Who cares? Like I don't understand why we care about weird things like that. We're going to be the first place to open back up with a full economy. Like
There you go. First place again. We in first place. That's what I'm saying. We in first place.
we're
It
also the
doesn't
first
matter
place that we are
because
now
see, this is
officially
what I talk about the
from going
politics.
anywhere too. We have to stay here with each other. We
Now, this
can't
is what I talk about the politics of health. In a place like China, their politics of health is we're going to protect everybody by implementing some things that are going to be kind of um, in your personal business, but it's for your safety, right? So we like, nah, you can't do that to us. Now they don't really bother people in their regular time, but during these type of times, they all over people, right? And then they because of that, their numbers went up and went right back down. So we see. That's a whole nother thing about politics. We don't know because they media don't put everything out there like our media do. They keep things on the hush. But lo and behold, when they said they were going to open, some of our places were just closing. But then our president says, well, the one that was that guy says that, oh no, we got to hurry up. We got to get open. They're number one. They're going to beat us to the punch. It's always a race. It's
but
always
why
like
does it
they're going to
matter?
beat us to the punch.
What
And
do we
that's the
win?
folly of the type of political
What do
system
we
that we're
win?
in, that
What,
it does
what do we
not
win?
care about anything else
What do we
when it has
win?
to do with nothing. We don't win. We don't
We
win.
human deaths. That's what we win.
The first place to open is the first place that sees a surge first. And they saw one, but because they had already had measures in place to control it, it went like this. Every place that saw a surge after opening went like this because they have measures in place. Spain, France, and Italy, their numbers went down dramatically. They got measures in place and they are chilling at
Hmm.
low numbers, able to contact trace and maintain. We have no
Yep.
system in place because our leadership that has been in control of this has not yet put in the system for contact tracing that is effective at all. They didn't put in any type of mandatory anything. So we're
They
going to
didn't.
see these numbers and it's going to happen all the way to the election because there's the I feel like this is my personal opinion. I feel like the 45 administration is trying to do something to look like a hero in the in like spike cases
What?
and put out a vaccine or like rush something to help
I ain't
people
touching it.
or say, look, we have all the PPE for you. Look, you're not dying as much as
You might
before.
be right, but the Explain Jones on Netflix is making sure y'all know that we should not safely see a vaccine until 2022. Like, if you see something before that, just know you a guinea pig. Okay? They have a very specific timeline
That's gonna be
for
fun,
these.
ain't it, Lily? Next world's next third world country, boy.
I
Can't
don't want to
imagine.
be here, guys. I don't want to be a part of that.
But because we're number one, we can't
Stop
leave.
saying that. Stop
Because we're number
saying
one
that.
in the
Why do you
coronavirus
keep
race,
saying
we
that?
can't leave. We're banned from everywhere on Earth.
Hey,
Just
yo,
about.
we're banned,
It's
son.
literally only probably a couple places that will allow an American in there at all.
We're,
And you
oh,
still
we're
probably got to
banned.
get permission, like special permission and shit. Like we're not on anybody's list to go to any of their countries at
Nope.
any hurry at all.
Nope. They don't want us
And
there.
they
And
because
I
they
don't
like
know.
this is our chance. Everybody else is taking their chance politically to be like, let's close out the Americans. Let's shut them out.
This is our
Like
chance.
and I don't think they really see that that's what's happening. Like now, their side they got what they wanted. They closed the borders, but now the borders are really closed.
And
The borders are really closed because we can't even go to Canada or Mexico. Can't go no. So
ugh. So my question
all over
is
again,
the only
hostages.
thing is the only thing that will put the politics aside so that we can get the COVID under control is the only thing that will work is 45 saying something. Is that what we're saying? Is that the only way? Or individual responsibility where humans are terrible. We're still having to convince I had to convince somebody today about all the facts. Because now that I realize people are still playing that original tape that came out, like black people can't get it. And it only affects people who are over this age. And you have to have pre-existing listed. Like they only have the old tape. They never came back for the new information.
Mm.
And so at what point will these politicians stop making this a thing? Like, and also when I don't know who we're supposed to be listening to because your man went up there and said ain't nobody wearing no mask, and then the next day Pence had a whole mask on. Son, why you got a
What
whole
is
mask on?
Chicago doing, Alicia? No. Yeah, there are state bans as well. That's what I'm saying. Like we're literally still in a
How you just gonna
situation.
interrupt me and not respond to what I'm saying though,
I'm
and
sorry.
just start talking about a whole nother subject?
I
You
was
not having a
relating
phone
it.
call?
I was relating it to what she was talking about and what you were talking about.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. The bands, all this stuff is politics. I just don't know why it's involved in these things. I don't understand it. I don't understand
Because at the end of
why
the
there's
day, that's how we
media.
chose to have our leadership is to have whatever well, this is not how it was set up. First of all, to have two parties and to have that's the downfall of America, and it
She
was
said they
led
turned away private jets.
by
Oh
Thomas
god.
Jefferson, huh? hmm If you come from America, you can't go nowhere. Like they not risking the people for the money no more. Other places are gonna take care of their
Illinois,
people.
Illinois. That's funny. Hmm. Interesting. That is interesting. I don't know. I don't. It's kind of scary. Like I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't like that there are certain places. Like I feel like DC's too open now. Like it's too open.
DC is real open. Our numbers are down, but they have gone up just
See,
a little bit.
I was about to say, what
But
were you looking at? Because that's not what I saw a couple of days ago.
I mean, they've gone up. Of course, they've gone up, but they're not spiking like in other places
And
by
Maryland has
thousands.
gone up too, but they're not telling us to.
Right,
And
and that's the
that's
difference in
what we
DC.
got to
We look
do.
at the DC
Maryland,
numbers compared to the DMV numbers that changes the whole game.
whole demographic. We all go together. We work together. We play together. Like can't avoid it. And our governor right now is not sharing the numbers that I've seen, and they way open over here. Okay, open, super open. First of all, it's too hot to be around this many people. I was so mad when I saw how many people were parked at the Target today. I was like, "What's that Target that y'all can order online?" That's all I was thinking in my head. Like, y'all can get all this online. Like, at least go somewhere that you can't do online. That's what makes me mad. Don't go somewhere you could get some stuff online. Don't risk your life for something you could do online.
Well, online is not always as helpful sometimes either. That's a whole nother issue. Like you may want
I
something
ain't never
help,
had no
but
issues with it.
I look at it like this: get as much as you can online. If you have to go, you're only going to get a specific thing that may just be in the store, like you're saying. Like only go for the things that you can't get online. It's harder for them to find it, or you may need to go in and actually oh, I'll take this one instead of that one. Like,
And
um,
and Lily, I get that people are tired of being home, but go outside. Like go outside. Why y'all gotta go inside of a closed building? Why y'all about to go in a movie theater? Why you gotta do that? I know y'all not gonna sit in that movie theater with no mask on, bro. Also, stop sharing J's. Stop it. Stop. You wearing a mask all day and then sharing J's. Like, stop. It doesn't make any sense. I just
right,
don't
and
want
that's another thing. Like, it's all of those aspects. Like
the
Lily's talking
grocery store is the worst place, Lily. The grocery store is literally like a cesspool of germs.
but it's like
No
we're
one
not trying to
stopped
say
going there.
it's
No
no,
one
it's not.
ever stopped going there.
It's not that we're saying we shouldn't be doing certain things. It's that taking the precautions necessary for yourself and others. Like if you know that shit is kind of
She said
crazy,
other than that. She don't know why people are in these buildings.
the rotation era is over. Yeah, it's all personal. Bring your own. Look, you need some. I'll give you some. You
Oh
can
yeah,
bring your own shit.
rotation. You need
Look,
some?
if you look,
Paper towels?
we can match. I'll match my
All
shit
that.
in your J. You match your shit in
Cheers.
my J. We take it to
Cheers.
our head.
No more social. It's not a social event anymore. We individuals out here. Everybody was kind of moving to that anyway, but it's just crazy. Like I don't think people think about the little. We're saying little stuff, but I don't think people think about the obvious things. You wore a mask all day. You went to work. You've been wearing a mask entire quarantine, and then you decide to go to one event, share a J, and be around 30 people, and it's basically just threw all that out the door. You got to start all over. Every time I do something that I even think that I may have been exposed to anything that is extra than my normal situation, I quarantine my own self. Like I quarantine my own self because I just cannot. I just don't want to hurt anyone that I love by accident. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you talked about something that I wanted to address when we talk about the media and the numbers and the data and stuff like that, because that's something that we go back and forth on, and we always trying to make sure we're up to date. That propaganda again, that media not telling the right information in certain places, not giving
Hard.
the detailed information, or people doing the research. Like I'm doing up to date research. I'm on the
Right.
same things like you. I'm on the CDC. I'm on this. I'm on that. Like
Yeah.
I'm on everything that I can find different info so I can coagulate it and say, okay,
But
this
what
is
are
like
people
I'm a
doing that don't know
medium.
that? What are people? That means they're getting it from their one source.
They're listening to their source. And like we talked about before, if their source is corrupted,
I also think that people don't really believe that there is different information. That's the tricky part. Like what we're saying right now, there is someone out there that actually believes that what we're saying is also propaganda,
well,
right?
that's what goes into the
Propaganda,
politics.
but they don't really understand. Sometimes there are news outlets that are giving you the news, giving you the facts, and they're not necessarily taking a side. Now, in this situation in particular, people have been forced to take sides publicly. Like CNN has been forced to take a side because they're worried about humans. They you are indirectly taking a side at this point during the pandemic
Right.
or the epidemic.
And that's another thing. Like when we talk about taking a side, there was a point where we saw unity when it came down to the coronavirus. And then we start the separation because of the politics. We see how when the politics don't align, that you
Mm,
can't have unity for something that's supposed to be for
correct.
all people. And that's a big example. People don't care about someone they know gets it and dies or has a hard time. That's true. That's what's gonna have to happen.
Man, I be trying to tell people, and I be trying to tell people just in my circle, like they be thinking I'm swelling. I be like, nah, I know people that have passed from it. Like it's real. I know it's a thing. I've seen it go down, but you know, really, people just need to talk. Like if people had more conversations, like online, with just their circle of friends, they'll be very surprised to see how many people they actually know that have either been tested positive for it or have been sick with it. People just not
Mhm.
publicizing it. But I guarantee if you talk to your circle, they right there, buddy.
Somebody's with it, but that's what we're saying. Like, if people's media coverage is telling them you don't have to do this because all they're looking at is what their leadership and their religious political ideology is, then they're going to follow them and they're going to not care about their own health. They're not going to believe that there's something really going on because they didn't see it close to them. They didn't see the spikes around them.
Right.
And it's almost like a flip flop. If you look at the beginning, you had these states, and then you saw a decline, and now you have the states that were on the low at the highs now. With
Right.
some median with New York and California because they're in New York and California. Uh,
But how do so Lily said that we that it doesn't matter what he says at this point because he's already done the damage, right? But do you think that if he were to hold a press conference, say this, and this, how would he get his followers to be back on board if he really wanted to get people back on board? Because right now we already know this is about ego. He knows that we need to get back on board. It doesn't matter. His ego is in the way of that. But if it wasn't, do you think that he could stand up there, make the mask a thing, make the quarantine or make social distancing a thing, and do you think people will respond to that? Or would the other side then be fighting about something else?
mm, I think his side would fight because they would
With
be
him?
like, "What? Why are you flip flopping now?" And then Yeah.
Oh, warn people to not be an idiot like me a day before dying from COVID, bruh.
You got to realize, like,
That's terrible.
he has a really small, like, so there's been a couple of, like you said, the episodes of, on the coronavirus,
Explain.
Explain. But then,
I didn't know they've been updating them. They just put two
the
more.
the
This
um what's my
Lily
other
said he would lose his followers. You think so?
yeah. Um
You think they
be,
believe it too much now that they could not just follow their leader,
I don't
or he
know.
would now look weak to them?
It would depend on how their numbers look. If he did it because their numbers look bad, then they would stick with him.
If the
But
president got sick, would they stop? Would they be like, "Oh, it's real"?
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what would like,
Right. Explained on the coronavirus,
yeah, and the Patriot
and
Act.
then
That
Patriot. But not just that, he went into the politics of
hmm
our country, and it was a really great, like, I love it because it's enough time and it's done in a way that it breaks it down just enough for you to say, okay, maybe I should go research some more about this because we're in the
it's
wrong
just
way
enough
of the system.
information.
But it talks about the ideology, and it talks about, the main thing it talks about is how he has a minority of people, but won because he was able to influence other ways, because it's only a two-party system, so people get stuck. They don't have choices
Okay, okay.
to be in the system that this democratic system is really created to be a multi-party system that has a outcome that is really reflective off of what the people really want, because you'd be able to vote for your first and second choice. You see
Mhm,
what I'm saying?
mhm,
So if your first choice is second runner up, your
mhm.
second choice is first, then you get counted twice. You get counted for both those votes.
Right.
So which one that wins those between the popular of your first and second choice. But that's a whole nother issue that is really what is plaguing why we even have politics that can affect our health like that. Right, ranked voting, and that's exactly what it's called. And thank you, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Mike be on here
I
with the
get nervous.
rooms.
I get nervous when politics is involved with health. That makes me nervous. That the fact that there would even be politics involved with trying to make people
Well,
healthy.
this is another reason why other countries have
I don't
been
like that.
able to fix their problem, is because their politics align with healthcare's top priority. So they put resources into their healthcare and they double down on it when something happens. So Spain, all these places, they did that, and you see results of that. Um, so what happens in America is our priority is not on healthcare. We want people to pay for their healthcare. We don't want to support healthcare of the common people. So politically,
Mm.
they're bound, specifically both parties are bound to, like, keep
You want
healthcare
to
in
know
a
why that's
place
stupid?
that it could be capitalistically profitable.
But it's not capitalistically profitable because the people who don't have good health care are the people who are running the places that y'all want people to work. Like the people that those 1%ers hire to do the jobs they don't want to do are the people who have terrible health care. Like it doesn't make any sense. If you want people to work better and you get your economy good, then you need to make sure people are healthy and can come to work. That's
Hmm.
how I think.
Hmm.
Wouldn't that
This
make
is why
sense?
you have other places that are so complacent a little bit more with some stricter regimes sometimes, because they have benefits like better health care and stuff like that. Other places it's not it's not like that, but there is a dichotomy here when you look at it, you know what I mean, how our political system is set up. Um when we talk about socialism, it's like, oh my gosh, you're a freaking communists or what, like, no, we just trying to have things that are better for the people. That's it. Like, can we mix it up? Can we add some stuff in? We're supposed to be able to do that, but there's so many steps that have to be taken in our
People
Congress
got so
because we
many
only have two
daggone
parties.
people got so many daggone beliefs, and then we got people running and making decisions about things that they really shouldn't even be in the room for. Like that's how I feel. I don't want to see no men in a room when we talking about abortions and women's health. Why are there men there?
Right.
You don't know nothing about our bodies,
Exactly. But then you have the opposition who are women. That's they make it worse. Um,
and they run by they men.
because Alicia talks about us being a country that's
Yeah, I
leaders
saw
put
that
money over power is already what our leaders do.
already.
Money and power over the
When we
people.
have a president that
Like
actually cares about
money and
humans,
power over the people.
people usually don't like them. When
Mhm.
we get presidents that care a little bit about humans, it's like, oh, he weak. He didn't do nothing. We can't win
Right. Because then they want you to do everything. They want them to do
everything.
everything.
You got to do all of it.
Right. And
Like
it's
you out
like,
here just really making decisions. But you know what? I take that back because this president has shown me that presidents maybe can just do what they want to do. Because this might be the first time that I've seen a president go rogue and just do break all the rules. Like you just on Twitter 24 hours a day with no PR people, just out here, just on Twitter using the bathroom, on Twitter in the shower, on Twitter eating breakfast.
that's 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 his whole stance is like I'm just being out here with the people. I'm right here. And it makes it seem like
Terrorizing
he's
us.
out here in the same realm with everybody else all the time. Like I'm on it. I'm with you. I'm right on it. But that's really not the case. It's really like he's on specific things and
Everything, the fact that they're even speaking about marijuana right now in the middle of all these things going on and they're trying to close dispensaries, sit down. Why are you even talking about that right? Why are we even talking about that right now, bro? Are you serious? Are you serious? Why is that on the table right now? There are so many more important things to be talking about, and you worried about closing dispensaries that are already open. Bro, sit down.
right, they open, they've been deemed essential. Like, what are we talking about? Why are you going back? Only because
They just as
there's
distraction.
distractions. His people like to hear things like that. And this is what I talk about the small
Literally
amount of
said,
people,
literally, the system is crashing and the pilot is gone. Facts. The pilot left.
and it's
The,
going down. Now, see,
the pilot is gone, son. And we're on this jump like, who can fly the plane?
oh, I'm not on the plane.
I'm not on the plane either.
I've been jumped.
I mean, I think we all on the plane indirectly.
I've been jumped.
We on the wings of the plane, son.
I've been jumped. I've got a parachute. I'm looking like
We still here, so we on the
I don't
plane.
know where I'm gonna land.
You gonna land in America because we can't go nowhere.
Exactly. It's Call of Duty out here. What's up? We'll have to loot and kill. It's gonna be just like that. It'll be like I'm gonna have to get a pistol, start with a pistol, I have to
But
loot.
what
Let
I
me
want
stop. That's just fun. That's just fun. It's like the
what I
game.
want to say though, like with the politics, this is the other issue.
Oh,
Like
that's funny.
there are a lot of people who are actually like excited and anxiously awaiting a vaccine.
Because people believe in the herd immunity. People
Who
believe
are putting a
vaccinations are and very important. There is a lot of science on both sides that doesn't say that it's not bad.
I'm not saying that vaccinations are not important. I don't think that they're not important.
It's just
I just
the
why are we rushing
time.
process?
I don't want it to like this is my issue. I'm not trying to have us to be in a state of emergency where
We're in a
things are
state of
so
emergency where everyone's going to have a vaccine to leave their house. That is
that's
where
what
we're going to go.
I've been trying to avoid with
You're not going to be
safety
trying to avoid
measures. That's what we've been trying to avoid as much
Stop,
as
Lily.
possible.
I don't know what you're talking about. She's talking about there are people who believe in America. I don't.
We should all believe in America in some way.
I've never believed in America,
It's
except for the fact that I am able to get on this live talk and say what I want to y'all. That's the only thing
that's
I see.
believe that's being in America. And when I say believe in America, it's not with the America
The
Constitution
America that they
that
gave
was
us,
that was built before, like by
the America
us.
they told us.
Not that one. I believe in the America that we can be. I believe in the America that should be, and I believe in the America
Okay.
that if we do the right things as a people, we will be. But right
Mm,
now, we are not that America. But I do
mm,
believe in America because there's no
mm.
place that's like this country
You
that
right.
right right now. Right now.
There
Now
is
soon
no place like
like
this
this
country
country. Right. And that's
with the history of this country. You are right.
absolutely. And that's why I say
There
what
is
I say.
no
Like
place that has been stolen and built upon blood and backs of humans with stolen humans
mhm.
from a stolen land and then captured back all for themselves. And we still
this
ain't
is
allowed to be
this
here.
is a
But
generational this is a generational thing. Like we're literally trying to change genetic uh things in the human population of America. Like, so this is something like mentally it's not going to change because, like Lily says, there are people who believe in the system. They trust vaccines. They trust the system, especially in Western countries, especially in countries that have that kind of control.
how you
That
gonna trust the system where our president every day is telling us something different from the scientists? That don't make no sense to me.
exactly,
Why
mind
would you
you.
take a vaccine from a leadership who's telling you something different from the scientists and the
Oh yeah,
healthcare providers?
Alicia, we can't go there. What are you talking about?
We
We'll
can't
Ghana
leave. We're
still
not allowed
have.
to fly,
We
son. We
can't
have
go there. We can't get to Ghana.
Americans
This
are
is what we're
plagued.
talking about.
We have a plague, son.
They
We're not
would
allowed to
love
go
to
nowhere.
have us, but they can't. We're not
They
allowed to
can't
go
ban.
yet. This is the issue right now.
Lily said she's over this ghetto shit.
But that's what I'm saying. We got like it's gonna be years to even like mentally. We're just starting to get through to some white people.
Sure.
Like
Some.
finally, like they're like, oh shit, like I'm contributing and I love and I'm an ally. Like, yeah, come on.
I love it,
Like and it's
but it's
it's
not enough.
wonderful, it's great, and I love it. We need it.
But it's not
But it's
enough,
gonna
and they're
take
exhausted because they're
they
fighting
are
with their
ex
families. They are
they're
fighting with their
they are
families.
exhausted. They are
But
exhausted. I love that they are exhausted and they have to struggle too. But it's hard. It's gonna be hard. It's not gonna happen overnight. Like it's going to take long time and we're going to go through some shit because we have politics set up the way that they are because our media is generated in a two party media situation right now. Like there are multiple sources now if you're smart, but the majority of people in America that's okay, so California, New York on the outsides, in the middle in America it's two sides. It's like either you watch this side or you watch this side, and whatever information you
you
get,
ain't watching both.
it's going to influence your behavior, your actions, and how you feel. And these ideologies really have to stop. Like these, I'm not even with this democratic ideology either. Like
And
I'm
also
fuck
selfishness
with the
with traveling. Selfishness with traveling. Like I kind of feel bad for middle
true,
America
Alicia.
and those places that never really like never needed to be in isolation. There are some states and some cities, towns, whatever you want to call them, that never really needed to be in full like quarantine because they are only with those people in
Because they
those
are
in that
already isolated.
they're already isolated. But
I agree with them.
what I do not like are the people who have chosen to travel, buy homes, buy summer homes, celebrities that have decided to go to their random home in the middle of the woods. Like That's bringing stuff from other places. There are all these people from other states in Ocean City bringing stuff here that we may not even have. Like we're crossing all these states, and people not even thinking about that. Like you're
Right.
going
The
to a
the
different
rush
environment.
of people to leave from one place because they're restricted to go to a place that's not restricted because our leadership did not put in place a unified
Nationwide.
order
Yep.
that was put in place all at the same time. You had orders, and like I said, that Florida shit that I said they started on one, but I don't believe. But even then, it was only for 30 days. It
Excuse
was
me.
not even when they
Excuse
did
me.
start it, they ended it 30 days. So we know that that didn't even really start at that time. You
We
see what
know
I'm
for
saying?
sure that it did not start until about April something.
Hmm.
Late.
Where people were actually doing it. It was in place, but
It was
nobody
not
took
in
it.
place.
No, it
That
was.
no, it wasn't.
I know. I saw it. I had to. I went back and looked it up, and
They
they did
changed
do it.
that, Matthew.
No, it looked it up. They
I
did.
asked 6 different Florida people, and they had no mandates, and neither did Houston, neither did Austin did because it's more congested,
The governor put it in place, but made it up to the small jurisdictions to say, let
and
the
none of
people
them
move.
none of them
They didn't
followed.
enforce it. That's what it was. It didn't get enforced for another 2 weeks. Where it's like, no, you have to make them not do
They
this.
literally like fake followed it for like that April 30th date. That's the start date, and then they opened right back up right before Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened
Right.
because they opened their beach first before everybody else, and they had only been closed a week
They had
because
only
they
had
out there exercising.
maybe 30 days where it
You being
was
real
nothing.
generous. You
And that's
generous,
what I'm saying. Like you had people protesting March, April, end of April, May. They were
right?
protesting in Michigan and other places about not wearing masks and things like that, right? With guns out and all that going to
Fact,
places.
right? Lily said, "We'll see
And
what
they
happens
don't wonder why
this
those same
weekend."
places are spiking right now.
Oh, Lily, after this weekend is gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a mess.
Oh, that was a whole nother propaganda though. That was a whole nother thing. Get things open by July 4th.
Yep,
Make things up and running so that we could get some commerce going. Maybe
yep,
people will do things normally and then
yep.
continue to start to try to normalize.
But
Like I
see, well,
said,
what they
there's
forgot
trying to be.
is we in the middle of an epidemic too. So that's gonna go a little sideways in different ways.
Mhm.
It's gonna be interesting for sure. Cause I ain't selling no break nobody's 4th of July. So it's
Right.
just I'm just over the politics right now. I hate that this happened in this election. I hate that it happened in the election year. And no, I don't know if it would have happened if it wasn't an election year. I'm just saying I hate that it's panned out this way with all this stuff. Like, and it's just too much.
But it needed to happen this way, I think, because we're really about to see the true. This
Like
is a
doctors
year.
are nervous. I've never
This is a
seen
year of truth
doctors and scientists nervous. I've
because
never
we have
seen.
voting. People are still
They're
going to
so
go.
mad.
People
I've
are going
never
to
seen
still
scientists mad.
go to vote in November.
Scientists don't show emotions, and they are pissed. I've never seen so many emotions come out of scientists. It is frightening.
Because we have another thing in
And now
place
people,
too.
I'm still having to convince
So,
people to
and
vote.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna say this. Like this is another one of those mark my words. Like, or if this happens, it's get recorded. So another reason why they could be lackadaisical about the health of people for the pandemic is because they know that they're gonna lose. And because they know they're going to lose, they want to get
Mhm.
people outside and congregate and get numbers up and down, up, so that by the time we have a new president, the numbers are spiking again. Because, see, we're going to go through a couple surges. It's not going to be just Like, oh, and then we get control of it, and then we have no. There's no control of. We don't have that in place, and then we're gonna have a new leadership, and they're gonna have to handle it. But it's gonna be a heavy thing for them to have to deal with right away, amongst probably some other shit that's gonna go down somehow, somewhere. But
Right.
we'll see about that. So that's why it is the way it is. I don't know if we could come up with, like, we try to find a solution for this issue, and I don't think there's a solution. I think we have to just keep spreading the word of, like, take care of yourself, eat healthy, eat good food, pay attention to your surroundings, try not to be around people if
And
you
think
don't
about
have
this
to.
as defensive driving. It's not just about you.
Right.
So wear your mask. Don't expose people to stuff that you may or may not have.
Right. And you see, Lily, it is. Wintertime is November and election time.
Bro, winter
Like,
is going to be
that's
crazy.
what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of different factors that I
I
think
actually
to
think
play.
God is making it so hot in July and June because it's been hot.
Yeah, I agree with you,
I think
Lily.
that's
That's
what
what I'm just saying. Like, I think they want it to be something so it cuts numbers. But if their people keep going like they're going,
hmm
it's gonna cut some numbers, all right. And they gonna cut
permanently
the numbers that they
forever,
want, though. Cause
forever.
see, the thing about viruses and shit like that, like, unless you controlling it, you can't control it.
That's true.
You can try to be like, which is why I'm thinking of things like, if I was an idiot, but I had smarter people around me that were evil idiots, how would we think about this virus situation? And that's how I came up with it.
So, there's got to be a solution. I don't know how to speak to the younger generation because I feel like our age and under, they're just out there. Like they just out there, man. Like anybody 10 years younger than us, they definitely out there. Like they just out there. They couldn't wait to go get their nails done. They couldn't wait to go get their hair done. They couldn't wait to go get a haircut. They couldn't wait to go do all this stuff. But the whole time they went back in the house though, and it was like you did all that, risked all that to do that. I just don't. I think
Like,
that we
some things,
perspective
if
is
you can
left.
do it in a safe environment, because you have a lot of those places that already had high sanitary, like, this,
Yeah, and surprisingly, a lot of
guideline.
barbers died though. A bunch
Yeah,
of
but they're barbers. They're not as the reason why I
them. They're
choose
not
the
like
type.
hairstylists. They're just different.
No, and this is why I go to the freshestbarber.com. You know what I'm saying? Miles, man, y'all need a good cut. I haven't gone in 4 months, but
Really.
this is why I go to a barber that is specifically detailed in cleanliness and customer service and all of these things that value. So if I was to go get a haircut, I know that my barber is going to have my back. It's going to be safe. It's going to be disinfecting things. It's going to have the cleanest environment
Right. And
per
everybody
customer,
moves
and
that
it's
way.
private. Also, it's not just a whole bunch of people just coming in. It's no walk-ins. It's appointment
Right.
only. Like,
Right.
that's also a safety thing that I was doing just beforehand. And you get better service. You know what I'm saying? So if I could put a ticker up, I put the freshestbarber.com
Lily said
down
we
on.
already know how they did the primary. It's like folks out the vote. Hey, you know what? People didn't even know that happened though. So I had a bunch of people, like more than I cared to even admit, that went up to the physical polls to vote and were told that their mail-in ballots have already been mailed in. And then they
Mhm.
gave them what's it called? Uh like a provisional ballot is what they gave them to do when they got up there. What you mean somebody mailed their ballot in?
But
So it
that's
never
another thing. If
never
you are
mailed to them? And
If
you
you
trying to
if
tell me
you
that people at the post office just signing stuff and or trashing it?
or this, like when you have a virus that you have people under a certain type of control, then you can control how they come and go. You can lock people out. You can now, like another theory that this is alluding to, these are all theories, could be controlling how the people are able to vote, limiting voting, or even uh, putting in false votes. There's so many different things that you want to look at, like, but we're still going to have to deal with the fact that we have a pandemic and that's not going to be handled by the election. And the politicians have not done anything to
I
make us
mean, the
safe.
reality of it is this ain't new. They mess with us every election year. That ain't new.
Hmm.
They ain't new for us.
Right. And it's going to be even more prevalent. And this is another thing that's why I say, like, we usually try to come on and like
It's gonna affect other
take
people.
our topics to like create solutions, right? And we don't have solutions. Oh, I ain't want that up there. We to create solutions. But this is something that is so big that it's just like we can only create awareness
And I
that.
guess the awareness I wanted y'all to get from this was do not involve your personal religious, political beliefs, foundational belief. Do not involve this with the pandemic with COVID. They are two separate. Do not just disattach yourself to that from that. Like, don't even think about that. Understand there's something out there. You need to stay safe. You need to keep people safe from whatever you may or may not be carrying. Period. End of story. Don't talk about politics when it comes to the pandemic. I have a problem with it. Let everybody else do it, but protect yourself. And also, don't go outside just to be like F F the Republicans or F Trump, and you just outside risking your life because your ego is more important than your health. That's also a thing because there's a whole group of them going outside just to be like fuck America. Like either way, you are putting yourself in harm's way to make a political statement, and it's just not that important.
And that's the biggest thing, like that's what we're seeing from the leadership is putting yourself in harm's way, saying harmful words, things that can make get other people hurt, put them in harm's way, that does not give them a safety, secure state of mind, so they don't know what to believe. If you were just stricter and to say, look, this is serious, we want to keep these measures in place, we want to do these things, and really are focused on like making sure that you get numbers down to so low in your highest places that when you do that, you're like, you know what, we're ready to go. That shows leadership. That shows you saying we care about all the people. But like I
Mm-hmm.
said, when you only care about a minority of people, and that's why I say you got to go watch the Patriot Act jump because he broke it down so well. And if people understood the politics like this, I think they would have a better understanding of why it was such a farce to have this guy in the office. Why that we have a minority demographic
Another conversation.
in the position over a majority. Like it's a minority demographic within their party.
He has moved as a business person, as a president the entire time, which is what I said in the beginning. Was that hit that y'all not gonna want a business person running the country? It's you ain't gonna like y'all think politicians are the same. They not. Politicians know how to play the game differently. Business is a way different game. You think it's the same. It's similar, but it ain't.
And
You
he's
can
moving.
you can almost play a little even like filthier business.
This is a classic business tactic.
You said thing out
He's
the herd is
playing
not always done by force.
right. And this is a tactic. He's playing towards his stakeholders. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a business
Yep.
tactic. You're playing towards the stakeholders,
Yep.
where a politician has to play towards their
Yep. So he's like, oh, I
constituents.
don't care that
And
there's black
at
people dying.
different levels, your
We're gonna keep
constituency
all the
grows.
statues up. I don't
Right.
care what this is happening. We're going to do all of this. I'm also going to post white racist things on my Twitter as the president of the United States. That sounds crazy to me.
Like that should be illegal, and you should
It should be
be
illegal.
able to be thrown in jail right away for that.
Is there a
And
safeguard when your president may or may not have some type of psychosis issue? Like, is there a safeguard when there's a mental breakdown? Like, is there a safeguard when it becomes dangerous for the country?
yeah,
Is there a red button somewhere for the president?
what's good, brother?
Hey,
There. That's why there's a bunch of people that have different roles that can yay or nay something regardless. Like at the end of the
I
day,
think they all got
we
paid off.
at the end of the day we are in a situation where, like I talk about all the time when politics have to do with certain things, like you have people in positions where their career spans presidencies and administrations, plural. So they make decisions according to that. But some of them will make a serious decision at the moment that they need to, but they won't do anything up until that point that you will recognize or see. And that's how things are kind of done because it has to do with their job. It has to be something like, if your career, like you have to know, like, I'm still going to be good because I'm doing the right thing, type of thing at that moment. But you can't
Like,
do,
the president should not be allowed to put the statement that he put up today about the solution to women being assaulted in the armed forces is that men and women shouldn't be together. That
see,
was
now,
not
now,
how to handle that. He
and
could have
that's
said,
why
as
we're,
the president, he could have deaded that whole culture and just said, everybody is bodies is their own. This is unacceptable. We're gonna
and
figure out what.
I want to see more done to bring these cases justice. Like something like that should have been said because you should care. But guess what? He doesn't care because his stakeholders do not care about other all any of those issues. They
Hmm.
do not care about any other issues. They are patriarchal, they are white supremacist mindset, all about capitalism, and his stakeholders are not even about capitalism. They're about like basic industrialism, basic like just simple economics where they can just like that's his stakeholders, and their leader is a capitalist. Like that shit don't even go together. I'm telling you, that shit is Watchmen.
Yeah, I agree, Lily. I agree. She said at this point it's not his fault anymore. The party is willing to allow him to be the fool he is. You gotta wonder why. And that's what I've been trying to tell people. Something's not right. When everyone's falling in line, letting these things slip and slide all over the place, it's not slipping and sliding. They want him to behave exactly. He's doing the dirty work for the underlying things that they were going to do anyway.
Hmm.
He's just really loud about it. If y'all think that that vice president was going to move different, it was just going to look different. It was going to be the same stuff put in place. And probably even more because he's a politician. He know how to get a little more done. If they all fall in line, they all fall in line. If they ain't walking, then they in line. That's what I'm saying. If they ain't walking, they in line. Cause I would have left. I would have been like, I gotta go. The first month he was in that jump. Can't do it. If I was an intern, like I'm ready to work for the president, I would have saw that and be like, I'm out. Like it's like to me, he has shown that much craziness
But
and
that
just
is what has been happening. It's
unruliness.
been a revolving door
It's really people that
three and a
people
half
have
years.
definitely
How
people have
many
definitely
people have been there since the
a lot
beginning?
of people been fired though. There's a lot of people
But
that been
that's what I'm
fired.
saying. How many people are actually there today that were there in the beginning?
Oh, I agree, Lily. We would be in Handmaid's Tale if Pence was president. I agree. I've been trying to tell people that. I agree.
I wouldn't allow that.
Tuh.
I mean, I might die, but I'm not gonna allow that.
Tuh.
I'm gonna do what
That's
I
what I
can.
see too.
I'm gonna do what I can to stop it. Yeah, man.
Oh, I'm gonna die before that happens. That I'm never. I will die. I will kill some people on the way out, but I'm gonna die before that ever happens to me or anyone I know. Y'all, we all gotta die. Lee, we gotta die. We gotta kill some folk and then we gotta die. If we make it out, that's what's up. But we not living like that, son. Not doing it. Okay? Your wife is not gonna be holding me down to give you a baby. Okay? And I'm old, which means I'm gonna be in the kitchen making food for y'all while y'all raping people. I'm cool. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Corey don't belong on no plantation of no sort. Okay?
Mhm. They be like, "What happened to the Johnson family? They all mysteriously
They
died."
just mysteriously died. Okay?
Everybody except for the help. Where the help at? They gone too.
They gone.
What happened to the Williams family? They did the same
Y'all
thing.
think I'd be just be watching Hunger Games and Handmaid's Tale for just for no reason? Mm-mm.
You funny.
I pay attention.
This shit make believe. It's make believe.
It's not make believe. Have you watched the Handmaid's Tale? Ain't nothing make believe about that jump.
Woo wee. Y'all
That jump
already know.
way closer to reality than you think.
She said I'm poisoning the earth. Lily,
I'm
you're not
poisoning
even gonna make it to that
everybody.
part because you ain't gonna I'm not even
Everybody.
making it to no part or nothing.
Everybody.
Like it's going down
We just putting it in
immediately.
ketchup. We gonna put it in water. We gonna It's going down. If that happens, we're all going down. The whole world. The whole world has to go down.
Y'all crazy. So what do we
He's saying
say?
we crazy because he ain't gonna be getting raped.
Oh no, I'll be dead by then. I'll be dead if y'all live that long. For that shit to even happen to y'all, I'm definitely dead. If y'all live that long for that to even happen to you, I'm definitely not on Earth ever at all. I done fought the good fight. I done took a bullet somewhere. A few of them probably or explosive or something. Something happened to me. I try to tell you.
Handmaid's Tale is just white slavery. That's all that is. It's white female slavery. It's terrible.
Right, that shit ain't no new shit. That shit was reality at some point somewhere in America or otherwise.
We got mixed babies. Handmaid's Tale. That's where mixed babies came from. If y'all didn't know. Queen, go watch Queen. That's a good one. Go watch Queen. You'll find out about the mixed babies. That's where the Handmaid's Tale came from, guys. Okay? First betrayers out here. She said, I'm taking a few women. I'm taking lots with me. Like, we just gonna have to blow up a whole building or something. Like, I'm not for the shits. I'm not doing it. Not doing it, Lee. Not doing it. Okay?
I ain't for nobody camp. I ain't no for nobody nothing. Do what? You got me fucked up. Got me fucked up. Let me open that closet.
Can
Tell
you
you what it was.
imagine? Can you imagine this for 5 seconds, y'all? Can you imagine them trying to take the African American people that exist in right now and they try to bring upon slavery being legal? I just don't think that would go well. I don't think
Nah, that wouldn't even fly at all though. That
it
shit wouldn't
wouldn't fly, but I don't think
like
that we are as
it would
complete
take
as
it would
people think.
nah, it would take so much shit for somebody to even bring that up, Slim, that we already in a bad situation if that's even brought up. That's what I'm saying. Like the book Winch, yeah. Like
Mm.
on some other shit, like to not try to like divulge from that, but it's like we know what's happening if we go down that road, so we don't even really need to keep going into it
Do
because
we
it's
know what's happening? I feel like we're in it.
we're not in it.
It
So
feels like this is the beginning stages. This
we're
feels
not.
like the beginning stage. This feels like the planning stage.
It's gonna be something. It's gonna be something because, like I said, the pandemic is gonna cause more harm. There's gonna be politics that's gonna cause more harm. It's gonna be
She said
economic.
they learned to be smarter than enslaved people. It would be a war. Oh, for sure. I
Right.
don't think it would go the
It's
way.
gonna be economic downfalls that are gonna be so hard that people are
I
gonna
agree with
like
that.
So
I
we're
agree.
still looking at things, and this is globally. This is not just America. This is globally. These things are being
Mm,
affected, and we got to look at that and say, how are these things going to be dealt with as they come up? Are we going to have new leadership? Hopefully things look a little different. Like the fact of having new leadership is just to get a new something new to see if you can get
energy.
something new energy, something to do. It's always going to be opposition regardless. Like that's I'm not with nothing right now.
Me neither. I ain't with the whole system, but I'm
Exactly.
a vote.
And that's my mission
I'm a
is the
vote to
system.
get the nigga I want out out.
Right.
I'm only voting to get out.
Yeah, and that type of shit that he talking, Alicia, that's the right there. It's like, okay, see,
Yep.
this guy, then he posting some shit on his Twitter, like, all right,
He
so
posted
you try
the white
you
people with the
he's
guns.
inciting psychological warfare. And I'm saying it now. I ain't said this fucking word on here yet. I ain't said
I
psychological
did
warfare yet,
earlier.
but I'm saying it now because things like that incite psychological warfare. Because every time somebody repeats that phrase to a person of melanated background, we get pissed the fuck off.
Yep.
Because
You're
not what not only what that says, not only knowing that, then you post some shit, white power shit, some old other shit. Not what that does says that you agree with this. You agree
Well,
that
what you just said is you are cool about us dying, so we know we don't even need to listen to you anymore.
right. But now you're also playing to your stakeholders who are just waiting. See, these are the people who
Waiting,
are waiting for a
waiting,
reason.
can't
But I'm
wait.
waiting for a reason too. So all I'm trying to say is let's not have a reason.
And let's not have a reason. How about that? Don't give us no reasons. We don't want them. We don't want them for real, y'all. We don't want them. I would
We
like
don't
to go
want
back
them.
to work. I want to go back to work. I want to do my projects. I want to go to festivals. I want to not be scared of being sick and terrified of being around humans because they might be sick. Like I don't want to be in none of this. I
Hmm.
don't want to. I don't want to be nervous every time I see the feds and there's so many feds, so many police today in the District of Columbia. So many police. I can't.
Well, I think what we have to do is we have to keep talking about it. We have to keep trying to understand why um these issues plague our community, but the community as a whole. Like when we're talking about the health, we're not talking about black people. We talk about everybody. Because this is
Except
COVID don't affect just
except the
one
politics
type
are
of
part
people.
of the reason black people are dying and getting
Well,
sick
absolutely, but
because
that's
of
what I'm
health
saying because the
care.
politics aren't paying attention at all, really. Like they really been against it from the jump, didn't want to go into nothing from the jump, so didn't give a fuck about going back to regular shit from the get
Right.
go because they knew it would affect the bottom line.
Yep. And it's hard not to even talk about us because we are being affected. We have terrible, the demographic of African Americans with really jacked up healthcare right now, and really just anybody who's under middle class at this point. Like it's not cool. Half of his followers are not his demographic. And what I mean by that is he really only cares about 1%ers. So the poor whites who also use Medicaid and government assistance and who also have terrible health care, they ain't getting no help either. But somehow they missing that too and think it's cool to walk around and go to these rallies and not wear masks. I don't understand that. The misconception is people don't realize we ain't the only ones on Medicaid. We ain't the only ones getting government assistance. Go look those numbers up. They will be shocking to you. But the healthcare that is being affected by the politicians is also affecting the issues that we're having in the pandemic with everything, with food, with housing, with health. It's it's so intertwined at this point. Like I don't know how you're supposed to fix any of it.
Right.
Hold on.
Well,
He's
I'm
green light
hungry
and
and I need
breaking
to
news.
take care of my health and I need
Yeah,
to eat.
mom. Yeah, we know. We know for sure that they talked about it on CNN last night about those numbers did not come from the protests. Like it wasn't even in the same places of the protests. Like it wasn't even in those places, like the surges. Home state in the he loses senator reports. He has plans of what in the White House? Ma, say that again. I don't understand that one. It says Trump has plans of
How to stay in the White House if
how
he
to stay in
loses.
the White House if he lose. Oh, what?
That's a whole
I
nother
told,
issue. I need to
yeah,
eat
he's
my
gonna throw a
dinner.
tantrum. He's gonna throw a
I
tantrum.
haven't
But
eaten today.
okay, we heard you, you big ass baby. You're not such babies. Next topic, men, Lily. That will be coming for you, big ass baby.
She's not ready yet,
I ain't
Lily.
ate today either, but I ain't dying.
I am.
Jesus. Anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all being here. We're gonna let this malnutrition man go and feed himself before he gets even skinnier. My shoulder today. I need to eat.
You
So
talking about me.
right. So yeah, share, like, subscribe, comment, share, and we will
Subscribe. Subscribe to Koi, the
subscribe,
Unicorn
subscribe to my
Intuition.
YouTube. But yeah, so we will come back at y'all later. You got another topic for you. Oh Lord, here she go. Go ahead, shoot it. I'm just curious.
Mm,
Shoot the topic. What's the topic before we let Matt go and before we get off this thing? Thank you, Mom. I'm trying to wait for Lily to tell us what her other topic is. She ain't writing fast enough though.
what the guy?
Did she already leave? Did she leave?
I don't know.
All right.
We'll find out later.
We'll find out later.
Peace and love.
Talk to y'all later.
Unicorn.
Have a great one.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.